Hey guys, it's Emily Schaller, and you're watching the Rock CF Boltcast. Before we get started, there's a few things we need to go over. First off, nothing on this podcast should be considered medical advice. Medical advice should only come from your doctor. Views expressed on this podcast are solely opinions of the guest and not necessarily opinions of myself or the Rock CF Foundation. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the Rock CF Boltcast.
This episode of the Rock CF Boltcast is sponsored by Vertex Pharmaceuticals.
Hello, my name is Briana Caldwell. I am 38 years old, from Memphis, married, 3 kids, and I have cystic fibrosis. I was diagnosed at 9 months old, and my mom took me to countless doctors. She was like, something's just off, something's wrong. And I was this fat, chubby baby, and they're like, nothing's wrong. She's healthy as can be. And at nighttime, my whole body would swell, but definitely my stomach, from the digestion. And she finally took me to a doctor here named Dr. Hanesian, who did the sweat test on me, and it came back positive. But they said that this, I was basically, even though I had a big belly and stuff, I was starving, I was malnourished. And that's just when it all started. Life changed after that.
Probably similar to me, you started on digestive enzymes and then chest PT done by hand.
Yes.
Right? Vitamins.
Yep. I remember, oh my gosh, I remember the taste of one drip liquid vitamin I'll never forget it. It was like in a glass brown thing, and it would a dripper. And it tastes like licorice.
I remember that bottle.
Do you really?
Yes, I remember that bottle.
Yeah, it had a black dripper, squeezy dripper, and it tasted like licorice. I could taste it right now.
So how was your childhood? Once you started on enzymes, had the chest PT going, vitamins, were you healthy?
No different.
Were you active?
Yeah, no different. I was very healthy, very active, always outside. I was allowed to get dirty. I was allowed to have stuffed animals. I had pets. I had dogs. Constantly outside. And my parents were very good at breathing treatments, but I was never hospitalized up until older years.
So let's talk about that. So let's go. So you do the high school thing. Did you have higher education or just start working, or what? What did that look like? All
I wanted to be was a stay-at-home mom, and there's no school for that. So I was like, I guess I'll be a hairstylist. So I went and did hair. I did hair for about 10 years, and then retired, had kids, then got my dream and stayed home.
So let's talk about your family. Tell us about, you get to stay home with these guys, and how is it? What do you guys love to do?
I do get to stay home with them. So I've got now she's 19, stepdaughter who no longer lives here. She's off on her own, but she's at work right now. She's a tattoo apprentice here in Memphis. She's so good, so good. None of these are hers, but she's so good. And then I've got a 10-year-old son who homeschools. And then we adopted, at the time, he was a little baby. We adopted a baby, and he's 5. And, keeps us on our toes. He's our last.
Did you see effects from the birth, like a toll on your lungs, the pregnancy? Because a few of our friends have had babies and they've declined.
It was great. It was great. Free sailing. My parents were even like, okay. They were sick about it. They were so scared. And they're like, I think it's going to be good. At the very end, well, I wouldn't even say the end because he came a month early, but I would say when I had 3 months left, my stomach was so big and I had fluid everywhere and I couldn't breathe. My lungs weren't, because I just wasn't. So I ended up getting double pneumonia really, really, really bad. And he came a month early, and at that time my oxygen was like 96 while I was giving birth. The next day it had dropped down to like 84. I thought I was done. So everything that I would have been like, duh, I was pregnant. So of course you can't breathe. That's what they say, right? I mean, And my stomach was so big where I'm like, yeah, really? I mean, just barely moving. I can't breathe. It's the baby. No, my lungs were very bad.
How did you build yourself back up with that, that tough time?
So I would do little things. I would get really excited if I could get up and do dishes and feel okay. And I would get even more excited if I was able to wake up and get the kids ready for school. Just being able to do those little things just kind of got the ball rolling to try to just do as much as I could, because from being so sick, I remember it was at our old house and I had a treadmill in the dining room, and just getting up to like walk a mile was awful. And if I could just run a mile, and it's one of those where it's just like, it was so hard at the beginning. To me, this is what like freedom feels like, is just being able to just go. Because when you're just stuck and just, I don't know, I feel like I'm all like hunched over, just like trying to get, air or whatever, just staying up straight was hard to breathe. And now just being like, running like this.
Yeah, you're always up to something with running. That we signed you up for your first race, I think, almost 10 years ago, 8 years ago. And then every year you're like, I need new shoes, I need to sign up for this race.
Yeah, the off-road series. I do a lot of the winter off-road series.
Yep.
Those are fun. I like series where I'm like, all right, now I got to do it.
I know, we just signed you up for the 10 race series
10.
later this year. 10 races.
Yeah, within a couple of months.
Do you remember what they are?
Yeah, so it starts in July, and there's every other week there's a race. There are 2 5Ks, then 2 5 miles, then 2 10Ks, then 2 10 miles, and then 2 half marathons within 2 weeks of each other.
You'll be fine, right? Say it. I want to run a marathon.
I will run a marathon.
How are you training weekly? Like, what's your schedule look like?
I go to the gym pretty much Monday through Friday, and I'll do legs and arms, and then walk there and walk back, and then take the dog out, take the kids out. And then I'll run. Right now I'm just running 2 days a week. No plan, no nothing right now. Just kind of like, if I want my cadence to be to a song, I'll do that. I'm just trying to get back to where I like it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at right now, and I'll get serious about it here in a bit.
What's your CF routine look like now with treatments?
Before the modulator, the first thing I did in the morning would have to be a breathing treatment, like before getting ready, before getting the kids ready. Once I started the modulator, I can get up and get out and get active, take them to the zoo, do all this and that. I can be the mom that I always wanted to be now that I am on the new modulator. And I'm not a great mom, I'm not super mom, but I am able to enjoy the things we do now and not just check it off the list.
It's as if somebody flipped a switch on the back of my neck and was like, you just feel this lightness.
It goes boom, it's like turning on a generator.
Yeah. You now have a regenerative, is that a word? Life. And you're running and you're being an awesome mom. Don't ever say you're not a good mom. You're awesome.
No, I'm good. Just nothing special.
You are something special.
Thank you, Bubba.